All right, welcome everyone to the fall edition of our Water Quality Advisory Work Group meeting. My name is Greg Easley. I am in the Water Quality Division here at TCEQ, and I'll be moderating today's meeting. And we'll go around the table here in a little bit to introduce other TCEQ staff who are here today. But first, just a few housekeeping items. The agenda for the meeting, if you didn't get a copy via the email announcement, is attached to the chat, so you can open up or obtain it there and open it up and follow along with us. And if you haven't done so, please register your attendance here at the meeting. You can do so through the email announcement that was sent. There's a link in it to click, and it'll take you to a form that you can fill out to register your attendance. If you don't have that email or don't have access to that link, you can also send an email to our outreach folks at outreach@tceq.texas.gov and just send your contact information, and we'll take it from there. In the agenda, you'll see that there's a dedicated question and answer session near the end of the meeting, but I just want to remind folks that as we go through each topic, each update that is presented this afternoon, we'll stop for any questions that you may have. Of course, those here in the room can just ask them directly. If you're participating online and have a question, you can type it into the chat and we will address it as we become aware of it. So yeah, after each topic, we'll pause for questions, and then, if you think of anything later, that's fine too. Near the end of the meeting, and I believe that's all the updates I wanted to provide for you. So we'll go around the table here, introduce the TCEQ staff, and then get into our business for the day. So let's start over here.
All right. I'm Dr. Cole Gray. I'm with the Industrial Wastewater team, and I head of the Oil and Gas team.
Erica Crespo, the Assistant Deputy Director of the Water Quality Division.
Rebecca Villalba, Stormwater team.
Hi, I'm Monica Alba Garcia, and I'm a permit writer for the Stormwater team.
Hello, I'm also a permit writer on the Stormwater team, Hannah Kobos.
Jesse Gres Salamia. I'm a permit writer with the Stormwater team.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Again, thanks to all of you here in the room and participating online for joining us. And we'll go ahead and get started with a program update from Dr. Gray.
All right. Well, y'all can hear me online. So first, some background information. TCEQ was transferred permitting authority for discharges into surface water in the state for oil and gas extraction facilities and gas plants by House Bill 2771 during the 2018 legislative session. TCEQ obtained TIFD's authorization from EPA on January 2021, via revised memorandum of agreement. TCEQ, as always, did not obtain authority for land application or reuse in this case. These remain under the Texas Railroad Commission. So the general permit for hydrostatic discharge, TXG 670,000, or TXG 67, was amended and reissued to include crude oil and natural gas hydrostatic test discharges. The TCEQ developed two general permits for oil and gas extraction facilities discharges into surface water of the state. There was TXG 310,000 under the Texas Pollutant Discharge Elimination System program, and WQG 280,000 under state-only authority. TXG 31 replaces EPA's general permits, TXG 26 and TXG 33, and individual Railroad Commission authorizations. WQG 28 replaces individual Railroad Commission and permit authorizations. So implementation activities for these two permits. TXG 31, which is for onshore stripper well facilities, coastal facilities, and territorial sea facilities in the Gulf of Mexico within 3 miles of the Texas coastline. This combines and replaces NPDES GP number TXG 26 and TXG 33, both of which were administratively continued. TCEQ shared the draft GP with stakeholders for review and comments, and TCEQ reviewed all comments received. TCEQ then submitted the draft GP to EPA Region 6 for a 90-day review on August 2nd, 2022. EPA completed its review on November 14th, 2022, in which TCEQ received no objections and only a few minor suggestions. EPA then approved TCEQ for issuance of the GP. Statewide public notice in the Texas Register and statewide circulation in newspapers occurred in May 12, 2023, with a formal 30-day comment period. And that comment period ended on June 12, 2023. The NOI, NOC, and NOT forms were developed for the TXG 31 and completed. And then the commission adopted and issued the permit on January 10th, 2024. Likewise, for WQAWG 28, which is for outer continental shelf facilities between 3 and 10.2 miles off the Texas coastline in the Gulf of Mexico. TCEQ state-only GP authorizes discharges to surface waters of the Gulf of Mexico. This was drafted and developed in coordination with EPA Region 6 renewal of their equivalent permit, NPDES GMG 2929. The timeline of this GP was paired with TXG 31 since it was a state-only GP and is not subject to EPA review and approval. It was released for stakeholder input on December 2022 via the Water Quality Advisory Work Group. Informal comment period ended on January 18th, 2023. Development of the NOI, NOC, and NOT forms were completed, and the commission adopted and issued the permit on January 10th, 2024. So in terms of oil and gas authorizations issued or pending, we have issued 59 general permits for hydrostatic test discharges and 17 individual oil and gas TIPDs permits. We also have a pending 6 individual oil and gas TIPDs permit applications. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Any questions?
Anyone have any questions about those updates? Okay, seeing and hearing none, let's then move on to the general permit updates part of the meeting, and there are several to be presented by the stormwater team, and we'll start with Rebecca's.
Okay, good afternoon. I will be giving an update on the small phase 2 MS4 general permit TXR 040,000 regarding the 2024 renewal. This general permit regulates stormwater discharges from small or phase 2 municipal separate storm sewer systems known as MS4s. The general permit expired on January 24, 2024 and has now been renewed. TCEQ presented the general permit for adoption at the commissioner's agenda on August 14, 2024, and it was issued and made effective the next day on August 15. MS4 operators with an active authorization under the 2019 general permit were granted administrative continuance of their existing authorization until August 15. The major changes for the permit include some of the major ones I'm going to mention in case you're not familiar with the changes, is that we moved the 2024 general permit from what we call the 2-step general permit to what we now call a comprehensive general permit that meets the federal rule requirements. So this means that the master general permit is now a prescriptive permit and includes all the requirements that small MS4 operators must implement and therefore remove the need for operators to submit an individual stormwater management program to TCEQ for review and approval, and also removes the need for the public notice to be published. And that's because the master general permit that we just issued has all those elements that every MS4 must implement. So because of that, we added more specific best management practices or BMPs and measurable goals for each minimum control measure or MCM to specify the clear, specific, and measurable activities, goals, and deadlines that must be implemented by MS4s based on their MS4 level so that we can all comply with the comprehensive general permit approach. So these are represented throughout the permit, mostly in table form. Also, because we moved to a comprehensive general permit and because we moved to EPA's net MS4 system, we had to come into compliance with how the rules are developed and written for MCM 1 and 2. So our existing MCM 1 in the 2019 general permit now got split into two MCMs. So the first MCM now is for public education and outreach, and MCM 2 is now for public involvement and participation. The remaining minimum control measures were renumbered 3 to 8. So now we have 7 minimum control measures and the 8th optional one. Another major item that we included in the general permit is that we removed the term urbanized area, and we have replaced it with the phrase urban areas with a population of at least 50,000. And this is as a result of the changes by the U.S. Census Bureau and subsequent EPA rulemaking. We also brought in with this general permit the newly regulated small MS4s as a result of the 2020 decennial census that results in MS4s that are fully or partially located within an urban area with a population of at least 50,000 or more. They need to come in and apply for a permit. We also in this permit implemented the electronic reporting for applications and annual reports to comply with the federal electronic reporting rule. So MS4s now need to submit applications and annual reports using EPA's net MS4 system that has been customized for Texas. The 2024 general permit was revised from the previous permit term to allow for one reporting schedule only so that we are consistent with the net MS4 system. The calendar year is the reporting period that we have chosen as it is the one that the majority of the MS4s have been implementing already. So due to the delays in the setup of the electronic application system, NetMS4 for Texas, TCEQ had to delay the issuance of the general permit for almost 7 months. Now that the permit is issued, existing and new small MS4s will need to seek coverage under the general permit that was just issued on August 15 by the 180-day grace period of February 11th, 2025. The applications need to submit it through the Texas Net MS4 system that's accessed through EPA's website. Our Small Business and Local Government Assistance Group developed a stormwater management program template that is now available on our stormwater web pages as a guide for everybody to use. Please note that this template was specifically designed for level 1 and 2 MS4s, as they represent by far the vast majority of our regulated universe. However, that does not mean that level 3 and 4s were neglected. This template can be used by every level for levels 1 and 2, by every level for most of the MCMs, and the levels 3 and 4 can just include additional BMP requirements applicable to them for each MCM as necessary. The annual reporting requirements first we'll talk about for the 2019 general permit. So many MS4s continue to have a year 5, a year 6, and even a year 7 annual reports that they need to submit under the 2019 general permit. So they need to continue to submit those reports according to the schedules defined in the 2019 general permit and submit those to TCEQ by paper. Existing small MS4s must continue to implement any ongoing items in the most recently approved TCEQ SWAMP until you renew your authorization that is submitted, the NOI, and approved by TCEQ in the Texas Net MS4 system. For the 2024 general permit, year one of the annual report will begin when the authorization is approved by TCEQ. Annual reports are going to be due March 31st of 2025 for those that, submit an NOI and get approved by a certain time. Otherwise, by March 2026 is when a first full annual report must be submitted by most. Again, it all depends on when you submit your NOI. So if you have questions, please feel free to send us an email or call us for clarification. TCEQ anticipates hosting a training webinar for small MS4s on how to submit an annual report using the NET MS4 system later at the beginning of next year. So now that we have this permit issued, since we moved to a different kind of permit and we have applications that need to submit it electronically through a system that is brand new for us, we have scheduled and conducted training already. So one of the training events that we had is that we coordinated with EPA to provide a training webinar for small MS4s on the use of the Texas NET MS4 system. The webinar was held on September 17th, but if you couldn't make it, that's okay. We have the recording available on our TCEQ YouTube channel. In addition, there were a lot of questions that were brought up during the webinar that we answered live or via chat during the webinar, and we are preparing a frequently asked questions document that will be available on our website for you to refer to that if needed. In addition, we're hosting a free in-person 6-hour technical workshop at Tarrant County Community College in Hurst, Texas on October 29th for small MS4 operators to attend to ask questions regarding the 2024 general permit. So this is different from the webinar that we had. The webinar that we had in September is solely on how to use the NET MS4 system. This 6-hour technical training is on the changes of the general permit and questions on how to develop and implement your stormwater management program in your annual report. So permittees, that attend this in-person training can ask questions that they want based on our presentations that would include an overview of the technical requirements of the general permit, the SWAM template, annual report guidance, and of course, if you're a new MS4, an overview of what the small MS4 program is all about. Then on November 12th, we're going to have another free technical training, but this will be a shorter version, 4 hours, virtually via Teams, Microsoft Live, and it will be from 1 to 5 p.m. So there will be a sign up for this workshop that's already available that Small Business and Local Government Assistance is or prepared for you to register. We have now a lot of entities that have submitted their user permission. That's what's called in the Texas NET MS4 system to submit their NOI or waiver. So far, we have approved over 260 user permissions for viewing and preparing and editing an NOI or an application in the NET MS4 system. We are also working on approving the signatory roles. We do want to let you know that we are denying several of the signatory role requests or permissions for requests because the signatory role must meet the rule requirements that are in 30 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 305.44A. So if you do not meet those requirements, you cannot sign up to be a signatory role. So we are denying those, but we are approving those that do meet the requirement of the signatory role. So if you are a municipality or a federal agency, university, prison, make sure that you are having your authorized signatory person be the one to create a record in our account in the Central Data Exchange System in NET MS4 for the user role to sign the NOI. Other than that, those are the questions that is the information that I wanted to provide regarding the MS4 general permit and NET MS4. And again, we are getting lots of questions. Feel free to submit them to swgp mailbox. It's swgp@tcq.texas.gov. And we're answering those questions. Depending on the type of questions that we have, we might be able to prepare another frequently asked questions document just addressing either the annual report requirements or the swamp requirements or net MS4. So feel free to ask any question. We'll be happy to assist you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Any questions for Rebecca? Oh, got one back here.
Everybody, Nathan Faster, forecasting see. Wanted to ask a couple questions on the NOI approval process. Is the agency going to be taking those in batches, or is it kind of as they come in? Just curious what that looks like. I know there are a lot of folks who are under this, and they're curious. Okay, we submit the NOI. What does that look like by way of next steps?
So the question is, are we going to review the applications in batches or as they come in? So our goal is to review the applications of the NOIs as they come in pretty much within a day or two, depending on when everybody submits their application. So if we have 100 people submit their application in 1 week, of course, it's going to take us, a couple of weeks to get through that. But we are going to be reviewing them as they come as much as possible.
All right. Thanks, Rebecca. Nathan, was that another one?
I appreciate that. Yes. The only other question I had is on the stormwater management plans. A lot of cities, a lot of utilities are looking to update their SWMPs. And I guess a question that we've been approached with several times is how will the agency review those going forward? I presume it's through the annual report process, but just kind of curious as to the oversight because, we've been emphasizing, it's still a requirement. You still have to maintain these and make sure you're meeting the measures that are in them. What does that look like by way of TCEQ's overview going forward?
Okay, so let me answer that. So yes, now that we have, and sorry I had to give you that, but so the comprehensive prescriptive general permit now does not require that a stormwater management program be submitted to us for review and approval. However, MS4s are still required to develop the stormwater management program, and you need to develop that prior to submitting the application through the net MS4 system. Because when you go through the net MS4 system, it's going to open up all these questions that you have to click and respond based on what you have in your stormwater management program. So if you don't have your stormwater management program, it's going to make the process of answering the questions in the NOI more complicated, and you might be answering something that you didn't intend to implement. So you do want to have your stormwater management program developed and everybody good with that before you submit your application. And in the application, you don't need to submit your stormwater management program, but all the questions that you're going to answer, pretty much you're going to be telling us for every minimum control measure, the BMPs that you're going to be implementing. Then when it comes time to the annual report, when you go into NetMS4 for your annual report, it's going to pop out and say, okay, for MCM1, you said you were going to do BMP X, Y, and Z. Did you do that? Did you accomplish the goal? And then that's where you can put comments of, this other organization or department was responsible for this piece and, we completed it or whatever the answer might be. So that's how things are going to be progressing. Your stormwater management program, then you submit your NOI, and then every year your annual report is going to get information from that NOI to ask you the questions for your annual report. So we see it as the annual report process is going to be streamlined because it's really taking information that you have already submitted from your NOI, and it's just going to be asking you for comments. Did you complete it? What happened? So every year your annual report process should be streamlined.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Any other questions for Rebecca? And just a reminder for those who are watching online, if you do have any questions for any one of our presenters, type those into the chat and we'll take it from there. Okay, well, I think we'll move on to the next topic then. Hannah's going to give an update on an amendment to the MSGP.
Good afternoon. So as Greg mentioned, I will be doing an overview of our multi-sector general permit or MSGP TXRO 50,000 or TXR 05 2025 amendment. This general permit regulates stormwater discharges from industrial activities and is set to expire in August of 2026. Recently, TCEQ has initiated an amendment without renewal to the MSGP in order to address two items: to implement House Bill 1688 from the 88th regular legislative session, which was made effective in September of 2023, to prohibit quarries that are located within water quality protection areas from obtaining stormwater coverage under this general permit, and also to implement House Bill 2771 from the 86th regular legislative session, made effective January 15th of 2021, to expand the applicability for non-exempt oil and gas activities. Currently, the MSGP excludes stormwater runoff from industrial activities associated with the exploration, development, or production of oil or gas or geothermal resources, including the transportation of crude oil or natural gas by pipeline. And this revision is in response to the transfer of state and federal regulatory authority to TCEQ for discharges associated with crude oil and natural gas exploration, development, and production facilities. So the purpose of this amendment is to firstly prohibit quarries located in the new Coke-Stevenson Scenic Riverway from obtaining stormwater coverage under the MSGP, to include in the general permit applicable non-exempt stormwater discharges from certain oil and gas activities, and also to replace EPA's MSGP, which was made effective in September 29th of 2021 and will expire on February 28th of 2026. Our major proposed changes include revising limitations on permit coverage, again, to include that quarries that are located within the new Coke-Stevenson Scenic Riverway are not authorized the discharge of stormwater runoff under this general permit. The expansion of the applicability of the general permit to include non-exempt stormwater discharges from industrial activities that are associated with crude oil and natural gas exploration, development, and production. We are also proposing to amend the general permit to include the operators that have active authorizations under the existing general permit, which again was made effective on August 14th of 2021, will not be required to submit new or renewal NOIs and are authorized to continue to discharge under the terms and conditions of the existing general permit. Operators that are currently authorized under EPA's multi-sector general permit will be required to obtain authorization under TCEQ's amended general permit within 90 days of its effective date. After management approval, we sent the draft general permit to EPA for their 90-day review and approval on April 22nd of 2024. We received EPA's approval on June 23rd of 2024, and no comments were received. After management approval, we recently published the public notice in the Texas Register and the Houston Chronicle on October 11th of 2024 to start the 30-day public comment period on the proposed amended general permit. And this 30-day public comment period will end on November 11th of 2024. Written public comments must be received by TCEQ's Office of the Chief Clerk electronically by this date. And we are tentatively scheduled to issue the amended general permit in May of 2025. Please note that this permit amendment will not have any impact on existing permittees, and the expiration date of the MSGP will not change. Again, existing permittees will continue to operate under the terms and conditions of TCEQ's 2021 MSGP. And that's it, unless there are any questions.
Questions for Hannah? All right, thank you for that update. Next, go to Monica for an update on quarries permit.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Monica. So this is pertaining to quarries and certain water quality protection areas. General permit number TXG 50 or 500,000 2025 renewal with amendment. So in early 2023, TCEQ started the renewal process for the general permit, currently known as the John Graves Quarries General Permit. The existing permit regulates stormwater and wastewater discharges from quarries in the John Graves Scenic Riverway portion of the Brazos River Basin and expired on March 29th, 2024. The changes to this general permit include renaming the general permit to the Quarries in Certain Water Quality Protection Areas General Permit, adding a definition for Coke Stevenson Scenic Riverway, and modify the existing definition of water quality protection areas to encompass the new water quality protection areas of the Coke Stevenson Scenic Riverway. We modified the permit applicability language to encompass quarries within the new water quality protection areas of the Coke Stevenson Scenic Riverway and expand the permitting and financial insurance requirements for those quarries. We also modified permit expiration language to explain since the pilot program is extended 2 years and now expires on September 1st, 2027. Since the rulemaking was not completed prior to the expiration of the general permit, the TCEQ published a notice and provided notification to permittees of the administrative continuance in December of 2023. Please note that while the current cycle expired on March 29th, the general permit and existing authorizations will be administratively continued until the completion of the House Bill 1688 implementation and general permit renewal. After management approval, TCEQ sent the draft general permit to EPA for their review and approval on March 22nd, 2024, and the EPA approved the draft general permit on June 4th, 2024, and we did not receive formal comments. After management approval, TCEQ published the public notice on August 9th, 2024 in the Texas Register and Houston Chronicle, and subsequently in the Weatherford Democrat for the John Graves area, the Junction Eagle for the Coke Stevenson area as well. The 30-day public comment period ended on September 13th, 2024, and the TCEQ did not receive any public comments. We are conducting management briefings and are scheduled to present the general permit for adoption at the Commissioner's agenda on January 16th, 2025. Those are my updates. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I've got a question asking if we could provide the link in the chat for the stormwater management plan template.
And then you have a laptop.
Yeah, I think we can do that. It'll take us a little time to get it in there, but we can accommodate that. Any other questions for Monica? All right, thanks for that update. Last general permit update will be given by Jesse on the renewal of the MSP.
Hello, everyone. So again, I wanted to give some updates on the multi-sector general permit, also known as TXR 050,000, the 2026 renewal to be more specific. This general permit regulates stormwater discharges from industrial activities and is set to expire in August 14th, 2026. TCEQ has initiated the renewal of the general permit and is currently in the preliminary drafting phase of the general permit renewal process. This involves a variety of different things, such as considering items that were collected during the permit cycle, from anything from internal input to frequently asked questions that have been compiled over the permit cycle. Additionally, we have sent permittees emails to notify them of the general permit renewal and asking for further input in the preliminary drafting. TCEQ has scheduled a stakeholder meeting to discuss the upcoming renewal on Wednesday, November 6th, 2024, 1:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time in the TCEQ campus on Building D, room 191. Stakeholder input is currently being accepted for preliminary drafting of the general permit. Comments can be sent to the stormwater team by email to the SWGP mailbox. That's swgp@tceq.texas.gov, with the subject line 2026 MSGP renewal. Please submit your written comments by November 20th, 2024. TCEQ is scheduled to send the draft general permit for EPA review on March 14th of next year, 2025. Please note that this renewal is to address the expiration of the general permit and is separate from the amendment to the general permit, which addresses the rulemaking for oil and gas activities that Hannah spoke about earlier. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jesse. Any questions about that topic? All right. Appreciate it. Last topic that we're going to cover is a rule update regarding Senate Bill 1289 implementation, and Erica will provide that for us.
Thanks, Greg. Good afternoon, everyone. And I told y'all last meeting that Greg will be back, and lo and behold, here he is. So glad you're here. All right, so I am providing the update on the proposed revisions that we are making to 30 TAC Chapter 210 and then Chapter 321 Subchapter P in regards to implementing Senate Bill 1289 from the 88th legislative session. We published notice Building D, room 191, here at the headquarters campus. This hearing is structured for the receipt of oral and written comments by interested parties. Open discussion will not be permitted during this hearing. However, commission staff will be available to discuss the proposal 30 minutes prior to the hearing. Individuals who plan, I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah. Oh, is it muted? The audio?
It's on.
It should be on. Can y'all hear me? Oh, you can hear me now? Okay, perfect. Do I need to repeat anything?
You might, I think they're pulling upstairs.
Okay, rewind. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to talk about our implementation of Senate Bill 1289 from the 88th legislative session and the proposed rule revisions that the agency is making to 30 TAC chapters 321 subchapter P and then also chapter 210. The commission published notice of this proposed rulemaking as well as the public hearing that we're going to hold. We published that last Friday, October 11th in the Texas Register. The commission is going to hold a hybrid virtual and in-person public hearing about this proposed rulemaking in Austin on November 12th, 2024 at 10 a.m. in Building D, room 191 here at the headquarters campus. This hearing is structured for the receipt of oral or written comments by interested parties. An open discussion will not be permitted during the hearing. However, commission staff will be available to discuss the proposal 30 minutes prior to the hearing. Individuals who plan to attend the hearing virtually and want to provide oral comments or want their attendance on record must register with us by November 7th, 2024. To register for the hearing, please email rules@tceq.texas, spelled out, .gov, and provide the following information: your name, your affiliation, your email address, your phone number, and whether or not you would like to provide oral comments during the hearing. Instructions for participating in the hearing will be sent on November 8th to those who register for the hearing. For the public who don't wish to provide oral comments but would like to view the hearing, you may also do so. We should provide, yes, we provided in the chat the link where you can get all this information in the Word document that actually has the MS Teams link for attending the hearing virtually. You also have the option of providing written comments, and that information is also provided at the website that we have listed in the chat. All comments should reference Rule Project Number 2023-137-321-OW. And the comment period for this proposed rulemaking will close on November 12th, 2024. And again, please refer to the documents that we have available online. The link is on the chat. And Greg, that's all I have to talk about this afternoon. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Erica. Any questions for Erica? Okay, don't see or hear any. And we do have a question. Can you also provide a link to the pending amendment to the MSGP, not spotting it at the link in the Texas Register? I guess we could
Do you have that available?
We have to.
go. Okay. We'll work on that, Paulina. For Jesse, what was the deadline for questions submitted for the November stakeholder meeting for the MSGP renewal? Will the meeting be available by MS Teams or webinar on the TCEQ channel?
So to tackle the deadline first, just a reminder for the dates in general. November 6th is a stakeholder meeting. It will be virtual and in person. It will be held through MS Teams, Microsoft Teams. And the deadline to submit any input for the drafting of the general permit will be November 20th, 2024. So please send those to swgp@tcq.texas.gov. That's all.
Thank you, Jesse. Any other questions for any of our presenters?
Just curious, what's the status of PFAS? PFAS.
Status of PFAS. I mean, I would say that, you know, as an agency, we're still doing our best to stay current on what's being done, you know, research wise and other regulatory developments. But beyond that, that's all I could say at this point.
So this morning, I asked the same question about accreditation, the drinking water meeting. And they said that for the 1633 and 16 here, can you guys please push the laboratory accreditation crew to go ahead and start offering that as a field of accreditation? There's plenty of labs already doing it, working on it. Helps us out with data integrity if we have a field of accreditation as well. But it has to come from the wastewater side for wastewater methods.
All right. Comment noted. Unless you want to.
Oh, no, thank you so much for that feedback, Joseph. We'll definitely get with our laboratory folks, and that's a separate part of the agency, but very good point. We appreciate that. We'll discuss internally.
One more.
Go for it.
MAL. There's, you guys have been working on it for a while. We've been having some back and forth. We'd love to continue that conversation before we just go out to the Texas Register and get them proposed. So if you, Erica and Robert and Carrie Michelle would be open to that, we would greatly appreciate it.
I can respond to that, Greg, if you'd like.
Sure.
So we did get that email from Wheat and the other stakeholders that are involved. We're on it, and we hear the interest in talking about it before, you know, the IP revisions get proposed. It's not finalized when it's still proposed, and there's still the opportunity for public comment. We have to respond to that, take into consideration a lot of stuff, but we don't want to lose the traction that we've made with all of the work that we've done. So we hear you and we're on it.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Hi, excuse me. Is this the question and answer portion?
Yes. Yeah, it is. We're asking folks to type in their question in the chat if you do have one. I do see that we have a question from Ashley. Can you provide any feedback or guidance for the backlog of wastewater permit applications currently at the agency?
I can handle that. Ashley, that's a great question. If you wouldn't mind, you can reach out to Robert or myself or our wastewater permitting section manager, Matthew Udinemu, about that, especially if there's any particular permit action that you're interested in. What I am at liberty to say right now is that our division is actively working on reducing any backlog that we have while still juggling the demands of new submissions and the booming economy and, you know, everything that we have to to do in our workload. So we're addressing it. But if you have any specific questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. I hope that helps and answers your question. But I can't provide any specific numbers at this time, but we're doing our very best.
Thank you, Erica. Another question in regard to the ongoing revision of the surface water quality standards. Can you share about how you're planning to address the impacts of the increasing salinity levels in Texas bays and estuaries? Are you considering the inclusion of the numeric criteria for salinity in the 2026 revision of the surface water quality standards? That's actually a question for a different advisory work group, the surface water quality monitoring advisory group, I want to say, which I think they are having a meeting fairly soon. Let me see if I can find that information and post it in the chat. But thank you for your question. And if I can't find it, should I do? I guess you can reach out to me individually at gregg.easley, E-A-S-L-E-Y at tceq.texas.gov, and I'll put that address in the chat if I can't find the meeting announcement. So any other questions?
November 7th. Somebody put it.
Okay. Thanks, Ashley. Yeah, November 7th is when that work group will be meeting. So a great question for that forum. 9 o'clock. Is that? Thanks. 9 o'clock is when it starts. We'll see if you can provide any more specifics on that meeting. Building B here at the agency, room 201A. 9 o'clock, November 7th. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Well, then we'll close that part of the meeting. A couple announcements. Our next quarterly meeting is going to be on January 21st of 2025. That's a Tuesday, as usual, 1:30 p.m. start time. And in addition to updates that we'll provide as we get closer to the meeting and a meeting agenda, I understand we'll also be talking a little bit about, as far as reminding folks to take advantage of the electronic submittal availability for submitting applications to us through a Steers account. So we'll talk or remind y'all of that capability that's out there, as well as let you know a little bit about updating core data forms electronically as well. So a couple of things to look forward to for our January meeting. And but that's, I think, all of it's in the way of announcements. So with that, we'll go ahead and close the meeting. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you in January, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.